What's up, everybody? How are you? It's a Friday night. In-game live primetime. Dave Sharapan, Matt Perrault. We've been here a lot this week, but this is where you guys normally get us. On Friday nights, we roll through everything happening in the NBA. They're on the All-Star break. The NHL, there's one game tonight. Major League Baseball hasn't started yet. There's a weird slate of college basketball games, Dave, and it's gorgeous here in Vegas, but you're dressed like it's 25 degrees. How are you on this Friday night?
Oh, I'm getting ready. You know what's coming. It's the Stadium Series, outdoor hockey games. I've been on the phone and texting people trying to get the ice conditions of the game because historically the outdoor games, depending on where they're at, have been dead unders. But I've been told that, one, it's not going to be that windy, and two, the ice is almost perfect. We had Irizarry on today. He talked about it. He talked about it with LG. She was at the practice, said the ice is great. Might be looking at an over Saturday night. The day game, Sunday between the Rangers and the Islanders. Different story depending on the sun and the shade and the reflection. We got to talk about a bunch of stuff tonight. But Sunday, you know what's happening, right? Well, there's the Rangers and Islanders. There's the early look at the number, too. The boys have it prepared. Big injury for the Rangers announced today. I can't say a home dog. But looking at Islanders, yikes. Plus 125, that one may be live. Sunday, though, Perrault, one of the greatest players in Pittsburgh Penguin history, is having his number retired. Raised to the rafters, Jaromir Jagr, who, you know, you always remember your first. He had a lot of jerseys. He played for a lot of teams.
I was going to say, is he retired or just NHL retired?
Well,
he's been playing in Europe he's been playing for Europe. I mean, he's been playing overseas I think he's still playing. He's just retired for the NHL, but he's still playing.
I think he's like almost 50. I don't
Sounds
know.
Right.
But they're raising the rafters. They're putting his number in the rafters at the Penguin game against the Kings on Sunday. That's usually a play against. You usually play the Kings when there's a huge ceremony before and all that other stuff. So we'll keep that one in mind too. But yeah, I mean, it's Friday night. We ain't got no games to talk about, but we do. We got Ivy League, a lot of smart guys playing basketball today. There's a lot of smart guys that bet the basketball on the Ivies Friday. Reached out to another friend of ours. Kind of gave me a Princeton in a look-ahead spot or something. They're down to Brown at halftime. Put that on your in-game menu. Princeton closed the 13-point favorite. They're down 5 at halftime, Perrault. We did good yesterday with the Purdue in-game. Might be time to jump in on Princeton. We'll see how the second half starts. So there's always something to talk about.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to get into, most of which I think we'll spend some time talking about tomorrow. So big UFC card tomorrow night in Anaheim, a big college basketball card tomorrow with a lot of top 25 teams who are in action. I do want to start with the thing that's going on right now, though. And Tiger Woods, he withdrew from the Genesis today. So he's not going to make the cut. So if you bet him to miss the cut, all those will cash. A lot of people were betting ceremoniously, saying, hopefully Tiger makes the cut. I'm cheering for Tiger. They're calling it an illness, Dave. He was on the 14th hole when he decided to say, I can't do this anymore. He had an IV. He did not get in the ambulance that they called for him, but they did call for an ambulance. He did not get into it. But Tiger will not play the weekend. And some people, he was on a golf cart riding off the 14th fairway. And people said, watch that image. That's the image of Tiger Woods last time being seen playing professional golf. You don't think that's the case, do you? The Tiger could be done?
I mean, anything is possible. But I hope he plays the Masters as his last tournament. You know, that's where I want to see him finish. If he's going to be able to play in April there, that would be better. I don't want to go out on a golf cart unable to finish a round in the second round on a Friday. As a golf fan, love Tiger. You know, the red on Sunday, everything he stood for. I mean, when I started playing golf seriously, I taped my finger because I said it works for Tiger, it might work for me, and ended up doing it all the time. I don't know, Perrault. Do you think he's done? Done?
No.
Like done?
No.
Can't be.
No,
Okay.
I don't think I think Tiger will make it known when it's time. I think he will tell everybody that this is my last tournament. I don't think Tiger will do it in I don't think he'll go on a tour, like we've seen, like with Major League Baseball players that like go and this is my last time here, my last time there, and get gifts every time. But I do think he'll make an announcement before a tournament starts as to like, this is my last tournament. It may be out of the blue, but I'm with you. I think the last time we see Tiger play competitively will be at the Masters. The question just is, was it an illness or was it something else? Is it worse than what they're saying? Does he have something going on, or is he just sick? I mean, that can be, sicknesses are going around all over the place right now. So maybe he just wasn't feeling well. But he did say that on the 18th fairway, when his back locked up and the ball sprayed to the right, that the spasms happen a lot, that his body is still not 100%, may never be even close to 100% again, given all the surgeries and all the injuries he's sustained over the years. So I just wonder, how many times do we see him? I think the number it's still in the double digits, but it's not deep into the double digits for him for playing competitive golf at the highest level. I mean, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in that range. On the high side, maybe 12,
maybe 5 more times. Like I would keep the number under 5. I mean,
but Freddie Couples played the Masters.
He might do the Masters or the U.S. Open and buy.
That's what I mean. But that's, he could do that for the next 10 years. He could do that for a while.
I don't think he will. I think once Tiger is done, his body is done allowing him to play competitive. You're not going to see Tiger just show up and, he may go hit the ceremonial first tee shot at Augusta and, do that and maybe, play to par 3 with Charlie and stuff. But I think it'll all be about his son. I think he'll step back. When a guy plays at that level, he's the greatest golfer of all time, him and Jack, and it's not close.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to settle for making the cut at the Genesis. You know what I mean? As much as it's just not in it anymore. Do you think he's going to play on the senior tour? I don't think he's going to play on the senior tour. No way.
He might because Charlie, he may go and play a little bit, like 1 or 2 events. I think he could play a couple. He's always said, though, that he wouldn't do that. He always said, when I'm done playing golf, it means I can't play golf at the highest level anymore. Like I'm not going to do that. But I don't know. You get older, you miss the game, you miss the competitive nature of it. You want to get back out there and you want to play a couple of tournaments. We'll see. But Patrick Cantlay, by the way, is to the weekend at 13 under. He came in 3rd last year at the Genesis. He has a commanding lead, a huge lead here. -8 for Hughes in List and Day. Minus at FanDuel, it's -150 for Patrick Cantlay to win. 11-1, Jason Day, the next closest. Runaway for Patrick Cantlay. More to come on a Friday night in-game live. Matt and Dave with you here on SportsGrid.
A great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
You got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
InGame live on a Friday night. Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan with you guys here on SportsGrid. Dave, let's keep talking about the golf tournament here at the Genesis because we were talking about during the break. So FanDuel's market is this. They've got just the win. Patrick Cantlay at -150. Jason Day at 11-1. Xander Schauffele at 14-1, and then up 18-1 and up. Like Scotty Scheffler is 20-1. Corey Connors is 28-1. So you think there's value on the favorite here, who has a 5-stroke lead heading into the weekend. This event was won last year by John Rahm, who's not in the tournament at the moment, or this year. 17 under is what John Rahm shot to win it last year. Max Homa shot 64 on Thursday and wound up coming in second with a score of 15 under. So there's value laying the 150 in your mind?
So scroll down on the menu and look at the top 5 price for Cantlay. It's 10. You got to lay 10-1 that he finishes in the top 5. And
right.
It's only -150 to win it. I mean, that kind of doesn't correlate. I don't think so. But, he got guys chasing him that can chase him down, but they have to go get him. If he shoots 3 under par, if he just shoots what he shot, like he didn't go low, right? He shot 68, 67. Is that what he shot so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So 68, 67 again.
No. I'm sorry. No. He shot 64, 65.
Oh,
he's 13 under.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
par
he
70,
did go
par
low.
71.
He shot 64.
Yeah, 64. He tied the course record, 64.
Okay. So now he already did the round, the low round. Okay.
64, 65. Followed it up with a 65, though. My gosh.
Which is great. So now the pressure's on everybody else to go shoot that round, and he's got a 6-stroke lead, you said, right? Or 5-stroke lead on the next
5-stroke lead, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So 68, and that puts him at a number that would have won the tournament last year. So
more than that.
Yeah,
that's 19. 17 won it last year. So technically 69-69 gets him to the tournament win last year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Again, a lot of times, people will tell you, there's no value in betting a guy -150 that was 10-1 before the tournament. Well, you're 2 rounds in, and he already shot the low one. If he posts another 66 or less, it's going to take him not getting out of the courtesy car on Sunday to not win the tournament, right? You're going to drive them to the course and say, just get around and shoot par. You're fine. So I don't know. Of the people behind him, is there a guy? I mean, is it Scheffler? Is it Schauffele? Those are the two that stick out to me that I think,
and Zalatoris. I mean, last year Zalatoris shot a 64 on Sunday at this tournament. Now, Will is after a back surgery, so we'll see what Zalatoris looks like throughout the entire, rest of the golf season. But Zalatoris likes his golf course. I mean, he's already blistered it for a 64. So he could potentially, but again, you would need a 64 out of Zalatoris, and you need Cantlay to shoot like a 70.
Right.
He'd have to be pretty much flat.
And there's other markets too. It says I'm looking through the FanDuel app, and it says winner without Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, and Victor Hovland. The price on Cantlay there is minus 175. Days 11-1. Schauffele's 14. Luke List is 18. Corey Connors is 25. So now you remove Cantlay and Scheffler from the equation in that market. You get higher prices on a guy like Luke List or Corey Connors or Mackenzie Hughes. There's all kinds of options, which is crazy now. I was talking about it with K-Dub before I came on here. Tiger being in golf has changed everything. You had to make – all we used to do was outrights and then started matchups. And now there's top 5, top 10, top 20. There's markets of best, American, best Australian. But I mean, it's incredible what golf betting has become. I'm sick that Tiger had to leave because the eyeballs go with him a little bit as far as ratings. When Tiger's in it, people watch. When Tiger's not in it, kind of gets glossed over. So we're seeing the transition. Live split up. Guy like John Rahm won this tournament last year. He's not even playing. He's playing on the Live.
Mm-hmm.
So golf betting is expanding, and I think it's a good thing. I just think you got to be careful about spreading yourself too thin on all these different markets. But, we got a guy like Cam. He'll join us later. I'm sure he'll have a take on who the dogs are behind Cantlay that can catch him. That'll be good to hear. I'm okay with, like, your favorite halfway through having a 5-stroke lead and only being 150. I feel like it could be possibly more.
I would agree with that. I also think there may be some value to throw, 28-1, grab a couple of those and just see what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Because with some of those guys, it's a better price on them now than it was to win, pre-flop on the tournament. So obviously they have to overcome a deficit, but you can get in the top 5 markets, get in the top 10 markets, which are there. You can get into the finishing groups. There's a lot of really cool things. I mean, head to head, I still pretty much only bet golf head to head. I bet golf and NASCAR head to head. Today, I bet Cantlay up against Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas didn't make the cut. Cantlay shot a 65. So it was a pretty easy walk to the window for me on that head to head, which somehow it was I couldn't figure out why it was minus 120. It didn't make a lot of sense to me because last year, Justin Thomas blew up in the second round. He ended up making the cut, I think, on the number, but we saw a really good second round at a Cantlay last year. And again, he shot a really good second round this year. So just certain golfers like golf courses, and you can kind of, not that it's the same, but you can anticipate them to play at least fairly well enough to beat a head to head. And he killed Justin Thomas today. So I'll bet head to heads probably tomorrow again. And then obviously NASCAR coming up with the Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday. I'll get into betting, 1 or 2 head to heads with that. I'll bet the manufacturer prop like I always do for that race. It's just really hard to bet outrights. Why are you laughing?
Because we need Tino on to give us the manufacturer breakdown. I can't believe you actually like that bet. We got to find where Tino Patino is. And
I've been betting it for years.
I think that's
I love that bet.
Yeah, I know.
100%.
It's a fun
Gives you the full roster.
It's
always plus money.
The Daytona is, you called it the best nap of the year earlier today.
It is.
Are you going to take it? You're going to bet it, take a nap, and then wake up and see what? Of
course. No. You watch the first 50 laps, you curl up, you fall asleep, you wake up, and you watch the last 25 laps. And that's the best nap you're going to have of anything going on in sports. It's the greatest nap event.
4 wins, and then it's great.
Yeah. You just wake up and you go, because nothing else that happens during the other run. Like the first 50 laps is chaos. Everyone's banging for position, trying to figure out how they get to the front, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
After 50, it's like, okay, they just ride around for a while. Then the last 25 laps, everyone starts losing their mind. And then there's the big one that happens somewhere between, laps, the final 15 laps or so. You get the big one.
Yeah.
So you're just going to go and have your fingers crossed that your car is not going to be involved, or your number of your cars are not going to be involved in that big one. But that's what makes it fun to bet, because it's always about the end with plate racing. Always about the last race, the last 5-10 laps. Unless you bet, like you can bet there's some definitely things you can bet on, like first stage, second stage. You can bet that stuff if you want, but I'm not that big of a NASCAR person to really get all that into that. I'm just head to head manufacturer. Who wins?
There will be spots throughout the NASCAR season to do that. I think everybody gets excited about Daytona and starts firing all this stuff, and it's a lot of guesswork early, and it's a lot of crashes and a lot of things. So I think we got to ease into it.
No, fire. It's a Super Bowl of racing. Fire. Have fun. Fire. Don't go easing into this. Fire. You can do research. Look at what happened last weekend. Look at who's hot going in. No, I disagree. It's Daytona. It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest race of the year. It's like not betting the Super Bowl last weekend. David and Matt, Friday night. Don't move. More to come here on SportsGrid.
Point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in the playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night, and wouldn't you know it, more news out of the Genesis. Jordan Spieth has just been disqualified for signing an incorrect scorecard. He signed for a 3 on the 4th hole. He actually made a 4 on that hole, so he tied for 20th going into the weekend. He made the cut, and he is out. Dave, how does this happen in today's sports? You signed the wrong scorecard? I mean, what's going on? The caddy have a couple of drinks on the way into the course?
I was going to ask you the same question. Like, how
you're supposed to have you and your caddy are supposed to keep both. What happens is your caddy keeps a score and you keep a score, and you go at the end and you make sure that you have the same scores. How did they both get it wrong?
I have no idea. It blows my mind, and I know this. I feel bad for anyone on a customer service line at a sports book or a counter anywhere that has Justin Spieth on the person's ticket and trying to explain to them that you lost. Well, he got disqualified. He didn't even finish the second round. He teed off, it's action. Some books, it's action no matter what, whether he plays or not. So he's DQ'd, you lose. I don't know, though. It's 2024. There might be a book that has a DQ discount or some sort of committee that says, just give back all the Jordan Spieth money. You know, he signed for a 4. Well, you know, we'll give you 4. Who knows? I don't know. It was a 3. There was a 4. I don't know how that's possible. I really don't. It's not that hard to count to keep score. It's not.
Our audience is asking if I was the one keeping score because I can't do math. They're saying that was Matt his caddy.
That's a good point. That's a good point. The chat is open. For you guys watching us, the chat is open. Jack has opened the chat so you can watch us and get in the chat there.
I mean, it's your profession. You're a professional golfer.
How
does that happen? My goodness,
do you
Jordan
think they
Spieth.
give him the business like on the range? Like, hey, Jordan.
Oh, well, Tiger. I mean, that was the beautiful thing about Tiger. Tiger, you know, I know people got all hot and bothered at one of his jokes that he made, but that's just part of the game. I mean, yeah, he's going to get it like crazy in the locker room. Guys are going to be like, you did what? How did you, Jordan, like, they're even like hooked on phonics or like counting for children or something. Like counting is hard. Or math is hard or something. Like, my goodness, man. How do you count a 3 when it was a 4 and now you're out? I mean, how many thousands does it just cost yourself? I mean, not that it matters for Jordan Spieth, but still, it's like, goodness gracious. Not a good look at all.
That's a mistake that can't be made. Another one I wanted to give to people, a guy named Palmetto Yinzer, friend of mine, really into the college baskets, sent me a text, and I forgot to tell you earlier, but Queens University, which apparently is in North Carolina, is hosting Jacksonville tonight. They were 1.5-point favorites. They're up 57-44. The in-game is now 11.5. He said, Dave, tell your brigade, tell your people, tell Perrault, you need a Friday night play. This one's on me.
Wow.
I can't even bet it in-game. It's minus 50,000. On the in-game right now on the money line. Minus 12.5 for climbing. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have sent that one out earlier. I apologize.
The game I am on is VCU laying 4.5. They're up 58-50 on the road at St. Louis. St. Louis is 2-9 in the A10. VCU is 8-3 straight up in the A10. So they've played pretty well on the road, and they've really owned St. Louis, even though the Billikens are pretty good at home. They've not really fared well against VCU. So we'll watch that game with the 4.5 there. Later into tonight, I've got a road dog in New Mexico catching 6.5 to San Diego State. This is what I like, Dave. You know how I hate when the line moves. I want the line to stay exactly where it is, where I bet it. It's been 6.5 all day, basically. It's been painted. Hasn't really moved. I love it. Exactly what I like to have happen. Yeah, because I mean, there's two-way action. There's different opinions on either side. It's a good line by the books. I'm good with it.
Or
give me the dog.
You put up a number, and it's Friday night of All-Star break week. People are out on a date or eating or traveling, and nobody bets it. Right. And you go, perfect number. You really did a good job. You just sit there and wait for anybody to bet it. Like, if it was our book, I'd maybe lean over and go, Perrault, watch this. Let's go to 6. Let's see what happens. See if anybody bets it. You might have to move it to get action. Sometimes putting up a good number at the beginning is bad because it keeps everybody away. Ideally, yes, you'd love both sides of the game and maybe some total. But you like the dog in this, huh? This is a Mountain West matchup. You like the dog?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I like New Mexico on the road. They've played really well on the road. Wow. Been a better road team than a home team this year, actually, which is weird because they have the Pit, which is arguably one of the best home teams in college basketball. New Mexico's been better on the road this year. So, and San Diego State's been okay. They haven't been great at home. And I'm going to take a team that's been really, really good on the road this year against the number and good straight up. I think they'll have a shot to win the game. I mean, they most likely won't win it outright, but they could, just given the way that they've played this year away from home. They're 8-4 ATS. They're 8-4 in the Mountain West Conference. San Diego State 6-6 ATS in the Mountain West Conference, but 7-3 at home. That's been arguably, it's a good home court advantage as well for San Diego State. What do they call the student section? The zoo?
The Aztecs?
Yeah, at San Diego State, they have a name for their student section because they all dress up in different costumes.
Right. I wish I could reach out to our friend, our big man, Mish, right now. He would know. He went to San Diego State. He was part of that.
Yeah.
Last year, he had a huge run to the final game. He was all over it. Are they a serious contender, San Diego State?
Four?
So hard to make another run to the Final Four?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Not at all.
I don't think really any team out of the Mountain West Conference is a legitimate Final Four contender. But to win the Mountain West Conference, absolutely. Absolutely. That they're a team that you got to be, you just watch them and you're like, okay, you're a tough matchup. They'll make a run in the dance. Their defense is 10th in efficiency, 63rd in effective field goal percentage, 29th in 3-point percentage, 146th in 2-point percentage. Just a tough team to face defensively. And they're not bad offensively either, although they can't shoot threes.
The Final Four markets are coming out at different places. The boys did a board here. Look at these numbers and see what sticks out. It's there's a couple on there that I think are of particular interest to you. If you look at that, there's some really good prices on some teams that you might be interested in to just make the Final Four.
See, I disagree with this bet, though. I disagree because I'm a hedge better, okay? So I would disagree. I would rather bet if I have I have tickets on Marquette, on Arizona, on North Carolina, and Creighton. As soon as any one of those four teams the Final Four, make the Elite Eight, I'm betting against them. Significantly betting against them in the Elite Eight.
But now, if you have to make the Final Four, you have already a plus ticket on that side. Look at that Marquette, plus 4-1.
I know, but I have a 20-1 on Marquette.
Yeah, but they got to win 2 more games for you to get there.
I know,
You're
but
sitting with a 4-1.
I know, but I'm never expecting it to cash. It was the same thing with the Ravens last year. It's the same thing I did with Michigan. Now, Michigan won the national championship, but I was never expecting the Ravens to win the AFC. I wasn't expecting Michigan to win it all. I'm not expecting Marquette or Creighton to win it all. I just want them to get once they get to the Sweet 16, I'll start hedging off of it. I have a 30-1 on the Jays. I have a 20-1 on Marquette. I have a 11-1 on Arizona and a 14-1 on North Carolina. I got to look something along those lines. They're all.
I know, but
they're all just hedge bets for me.
That gives you, if you wait until the Sweet 16, let alone the Elite Eight game, you're already sitting with a Marquette 4-1 money line ticket. So now, if they're favored in the game, you have a plus on the other side just on that game. And now you guarantee you have a plus and a plus. If you think any one of your teams can get to the Final Four, you can hedge one game. You get guaranteed money, instantaneous result. I just saw the list, and I saw the Marquette, and I saw the Arizona. I thought you basically
Arizona's I don't know about
They
Marquette.
could be favored.
Yeah, the draw is going to matter for
the
Marquette.
Elite Eight game.
The draw will matter for Marquette. Arizona is, I mean, there's such amazing amounts of motivation to go play a Final Four in their home state. It's a huge deal to me. I mean, Arizona is going to have a real, I mean, they can play it. I mean, that's why them winning it all is like, I'm not so sure I'll hedge up Arizona. I'll see. I mean, I might, but I might not, because I think they could win it all. So, I mean, I may just make sure I get my money back. But college basketball. Auburn is really interesting.
Lower price than North Carolina.
Yeah, because North Carolina is right now, they're in trouble. I mean, they're in a massive slump at the moment. Auburn has killed everyone they've played at home. I mean, it's the thing about Auburn is they don't play the SEC championship or the NCAA championship at Auburn. They play on a neutral. So my worry is, what do the Tigers look like when they get away from home? But at home, they're killing everyone. Killed Alabama. They killed South Carolina. I mean, they're lighting people up by 20 and 30 points at home. But they got to go on the road. So Carolina can play on the road. Carolina's a much better road team than Auburn is. I trust Carolina to make a run a lot more than Auburn, even though I like Bruce Pearl a lot and I like Auburn's team a lot. We'll take a look at what's happening across college basketball in action, NHL hockey as well. One game in action. We'll look at it next year. In-game live on Friday.
Great point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of a spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Kevin. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in the playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
InGame Live on a Friday night. How are you guys? Thanks for hanging out with us. There's not a ton of stuff going on across the sports world at the moment, so we're taking a look at things happening in the golf world, NASCAR, UFC, all the fun stuff. The chat will get with you guys coming up here. Dave Sharapan, Matt Perrault coming up. Dave, there is a fight card tomorrow night for the UFC that I think needs to be highlighted because everyone's been talking about UFC 300 so much. But the headline fight, Volkanovski against Topuria for the featherweight belt, is going to be an absolute banger. I mean, this is going to be awesome. And I'm actually surprised. I know Volk is the champion, and I know Volk has a ton of experience, and it's really hard to beat this guy at this weight class. Keeps on trying to go up and fight in different levels, but I mean, this is going to be a ton of fun to watch. Topuria is a guy that I'm not saying the company wants Topuria to win, but they're not going to be angry about it because he's a name, he's a guy, he's 14-0, he's been on the way up, and he had a heck of a victory in his last fight against Josh Emmett. That this is going to be a can't miss fight. I'm psyched to watch this fight.
Looking at the total. 3.5. These fights are usually 4.5. Are you expecting this one to end way before the card?
Average fight time for Topuria is 10 minutes and 17 seconds. Average fight time for Volkanovski is 16 minutes, 18 seconds. So
this isn't going 5 rounds.
Most likely not. I mean, Makhachev took down Volkanovski and beat him both times. One time with the decision, one time in the first round, knocked him out. He knocked out Yair Rodriguez in the fight before that. And I mean, it's a chance to really, I'm psyched to see how this fight goes, but most likely it's going to be under Topuria's fights. Yes, his last one did go to a decision against Josh Emmett, but arm triangle against Bryce Mitchell. I didn't watch the Jai Herbert fight, but he knocked him out in the second round. He's just an explosive fighter. So I would lean towards the under in this, but I mean, Topuria is going to have to show that when he gets taken to deep water by Volkanovski, that he can handle it because it's going to
This is the next question. We used to do this going back years when you were doing your radio show and I was still in a risk room. I was learning from you all the time. And then I would actually, turn in the room and say, listen, my fight guy said this: who does a fight to the 5th round or a fight that gets to the cards favor in this fight? Is it Volk or Topuria?
Volk, because he's more experienced. I will never be able to get the image of what happened in the fight against Brian Ortega that went to the cards. In the 4th round, Brian Ortega, I believe it was the 4th round, Brian Ortega had a chokehold headlock on Volkanovski that I watched. I'm not always cage side, but I was cage side for that fight. His head turned purple.
I love
legitimately turned his head turned purple. I've never seen a head turn the color that Volkanovski's head. Anyone else on the planet taps. He was there was no blood. It was like watching a pimple getting squeezed, and it was waiting for the pop to happen. And it was one of his brains. It was like, he's going to tap, right? He's going to tap, right? I will never forget the sound of the crowd. Literally everyone at T-Mobile Arena was standing, thinking the fight was going to be over, and Brian Ortega was going to win his first belt and really get to the point where everyone thought he was going to be the heir apparent, the next big thing in the UFC. And he didn't tap. He wouldn't tap. And then he hung on the 5th round. He had banked the first 3 rounds, and he won it 3-2, and he retained his title. So, again, I got to see Topuria go through a war like that before I can go. Volkanovski's built differently. He's just not. He's a tank. He really is.
So the only way that Topuria is winning is knocking him out. He's not probably going to submit him. He's got to take him out. I don't think. Right? It sounds. Everything you're saying,
yeah, probably.
I love the story about the head turning purple. The first time you told me that, you had me on the ground laughing. It was just one of those ones where you were like, I was right there. I was waiting for his head to pop off. I was waiting for everything to start, him to just slump over and, all that stuff. Guys like that are built different. Are you surprised the price is this low?
No, because it's Topuria. This is, if you gave Topuria a bigger plus, the pros are going to come in and hammer it, and then the books can take a bath. So I think that this is showing you where the money's going to come in. I think Topuria will be a sharp play, and I think you'll see. I don't think it will close with Topuria the favorite, but it could. It wouldn't stun me at all. I mean, look, Robert Whittaker and Paulo Costa is a tremendous fight. I mean, that thing is going to be an absolute war. Paulo Costa always brings a lot of eyeballs. Robert Whittaker is still trying to keep himself in the championship middleweight title conversation. Obviously, he couldn't beat Izzy, but he lost to Duplessis. He wants his second crack at him. That's how Duplessis got the title fight in the last fight. Jeff Neal against Ian Gary. I mean, you want to talk about a fight the fans are jumping up and down about. Ian Gary is going to get a monster test in Jeff Neal. And this is his nickname is the Future for a reason. He's undefeated. He's 13-0. Supposed to be the next coming of Conor McGregor. This is the Irish invasion with the UFC to see whether he'll come in and get that, get this W in the welterweight division. That's tremendous. I mean, Henry Cejudo is back on in the bantamweight division here. I mean, there are big names up and down this card. And I think if you're a UFC fan, you've been waiting for a card like this for a couple of months now because December was sort of wah. Last month was really nothing. This is supposed to be the big fight here. We'll get the 298 out of the way. And then we go, obviously, into the 299, 300, where we still have a main event, by the way, for UFC 300. So we'll see how that's going to go. We don't know who's there, but 299 is O'Malley against Chico Vera coming up in Miami. That's going to be an unbelievable fight and a really awesome card. So the UFC is now back, I think, in a big way with big-time fights. Obviously, 300 is kind of sitting out there. So it's just, if you're a fight fan, I know it's expensive, and I know sometimes the cards don't live up to it, but I think this pay-per-view actually has a shot to make it worth your money to purchase it and watch it, just because it's one belt, but a bunch of big fights and a bunch of big names. I mean, heck, Amanda Lemos against Mackenzie Dern in the strawweight division. I believe that's the prelim final. That's huge. That's a monster fight for both women who are trying to make their case in the strawweight division for a title shot. So that's going to be huge. Both of those fighters coming off of losses. So it's important for both fights. And Mackenzie Dern's got a monster fan base. People really have loved watching her. She's the submission specialist who's have to work on her striking. So we'll see there. But it's a good card. So it's going to be fun to watch that fight tomorrow.
It's in Anaheim. Okay. It's in Southern California. We got our buddy SoCal DGen, a longtime BVB guy and first time here on SportsGrid. Welcome, sir.
Hi.
The boys are all filing in. Great to see all of you, Sonic and the rest of you. Did you want to talk about this hockey game before the top of the hour?
Sure.
Because there's a hockey game on board tonight. It's the only game. It's down in Arizona where our buddy Sonic is. And Carolina playing as good as anybody. Arizona, one game, NHL. Like, what are they doing? We had talked about it earlier.
I don't
Should
know.
they have a full slate tonight?
It's a massive miss. I mean, Carolina minus 140 in regulation would probably be the only bet I'd make.
Bargain. They win the game, right?
Yep. I mean, so it's minus 140. It's a little juicy, but not too bad. Better than laying 190 on it. But I mean, Carolina is a team that right now the books are telegraphing what they think about the second half of the year for Carolina.
With the
Look out for
future.
the Hurricanes. Yeah.
Right?
Books are
Stanley Cup
books are
futures.
telling you. Books are telling you. Okay. I know they haven't had a great start to their year, but they're 30-17-5, and we think that they're going to be a really big problem in the postseason.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree.
This is a big weekend to kind of tighten up the futures. So, because you're not distracted by the NBA. Now, there's a big card of college basketball tomorrow. That's fine. There'll be a lot of opportunities on the board. But the hockey tomorrow, again, the outdoor game, I'm dressed like this because I got the Devils jersey on, like that for Jack. There you go. Jack Hughes on the back. Actually, this was a gift from our friend Joe Rogers. But Stadium Series tomorrow, Perrault. Saturday night, Sunday, back-to-back at MetLife, outdoors. That's going to be a lot of fun. Great job with that graphic, boys. That
Do you
looks
bet
really
these?
nice.
I don't bet these.
I like to bet the totals, but I usually bet unders. And I'm telling you,
Right.
Saturday night maybe a game where it's an overplay. As long as the wind isn't bad, I think
I
it
just
might be an
remember
overplay.
I skated on the rink at Fenway Park. And I remember going, this looks nothing like how you play hockey. Like, it looks so weird. The glass, the boards, your dimensions are all messed up.
Yeah.
Like the way you're seeing it, like, there were two things. There was a media game and there was a media skate. I did the media skate. I didn't play I've never played hockey in my life. So I was like, I'm not playing in the media game for the first time ever. I'm not going out there with cameras rolling. It's a really bad idea.
I got to do that. You got to get me in that media game.
So
depending on who's playing, I might put someone in the boards a little bit too, because I can still skate. I may take my shot. That'll be fun.
But I was on the bench for it. I remember watching it going like, the sight lines are all screwed up. It's hard to play. Like, there's all this, you get weird, like, distracting things, like planes going overhead and you get skywriting people. It doesn't make any sense. It's hard to play. So after doing that, I'm like, I'm not betting this. I think the last time I bet it was the Lake Tahoe game for the Vegas Golden Knights when they had to stop it because of the ice was on where the sun was beating down.
Right.
It ruined the ice.
Huge glare. They had a tremendously bad glare. The goalies, almost got to wear sunglasses, couldn't see anything off the ice. I don't know. We'll get the wind report if any of the boys are back there or girls. Let us know. I got Big Consig working the game. She's working both games.
That's awesome.
I mean, I can't believe my daughter is going to get to go to an outdoor hockey game before me. It doesn't seem right, but this is the way the universe works. So I don't know. My guy Fishkiller, he said to bet the Canes team total over tonight. Like that game over tonight?
Canes? No, but I could see a 4-2 win though. So over 3.5 for the Hurricanes.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. Yeah, I can see 4 goals for Carolina. Sure. Yeah. It's like the thing about these games right now for the NHL, because it's a standalone Friday night game. It's a game I wouldn't bet normally, so I didn't force it. Like, I was thinking about, I was like, there's one game I got to bet it. I was like, no, I'm not going to bet it because I wouldn't bet it otherwise. It's not a game I would hunt out because I've bet Arizona against Arizona at home. It's a 5,000 seat bandbox. Speaking of weird places to play hockey, it's like a hockey. It literally is a college arena. It's not, you're not used to it if you're an NHL player. So sometimes you don't play well there and you end up getting beat by Arizona. So I was like, look, I like the Hurricanes today, but if we're sitting here and it's a 4-1 final for Arizona, I'm not going to be stunned just because I've seen it before where everything looks like it's one way and it goes the complete opposite way. So, just one of those things you got to be careful of. More to come, and take a look at the college basketball slate on the other side. InGame live on a Friday night here on SportsGrid.
Great point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in the playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault with you guys here on SportsGrid. We've talked, well, a lot of things. A little hockey. We'll talk some baseball in the next hour. We'll get to Cam Stewart, his picks and thoughts, but we'll do baseball, talk a bit about some futures as pitchers and catchers have opened up, and we'll talk why is Blake Snell not signed, which still does not make a lick of sense to anybody who follows baseball to say, why isn't this guy actually signed? He's the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the National League, but he does not have a team for some ridiculous reason, so we'll get to that. It's always fun when you guys see the show and you send us pictures or tell us where you're watching SportsGrid. One of my former students just sent us a picture that we're on in Walmart, which is very cool. I don't know which Walmart, because Ethan wanted to be a professional bowler. That was his dream. So he may be somewhere in some, not in Las Vegas. He may be somewhere else, but he also might be here. But yeah, I guess he bowled his first 300 game when he was like 15. Yep. And so he wants to be like, he consistently can bowl 300s. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He's like, I want to be pro. I'm like, you want to do what? Like, I've never heard this before. He's like, yeah, I want to be a pro bowler. So wow. So he, I guess, is really good.
Him up to the Sun Coast on Saturday nights in the bowling league, because there's people up there that carry a 230 average and bowl 300 once a week. So
that's amazing.
Send Ethan up there, and maybe we'll have him put us on the TVs up there. That's great. Thanks, Ethan, for sending that picture.
What's a professional average in bowling? Like, what do you have to be a pro bowler?
Oh, these guys carry – the guys that, like, show up on Saturday nights and have a couple drinks, they carry a 230 average. Like, it's nothing.
But a pro bowler. A pro bowler
carries a 230 to 240 average. They throw a 700 series on the regular.
At the Sun Coast? That's what they do?
Those guys, they do it every week. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's it? Oh, yeah. Wow.
230 average. It's incredible.
Huh. Interesting. This is a quick one. It's a buy and a high. We'll come back, talk some baseball on the other side. Hour 2 in-game live on a Friday. Matt and Dave with you. Don't move. More to come here on SportsGrid.
paid smarter to be on SportsGrid.
What's up, guys? How are you? It's a Friday night, hour 2, in-game live. Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan with you guys. Cam Stewart will join us in about 40 minutes for his thoughts, picks, and plays on the weekend. I'm sure he'll have thoughts on the Genesis Open. Tiger Woods withdrew today due to an illness. Jordan Spieth was disqualified after signing an incorrect scorecard, so it's been kind of crazy. And in the middle of all of it, Patrick Cantlay has a very large lead, a 5-stroke lead heading towards the weekend after he took apart that golf tournament to the tune of 13 under over 2 rounds. So we'll do that coming up at 40 past. Dave, spring training, pitchers and catchers. Let's talk some baseball here at the top because hockey's just getting underway. I'm watching VCU taking on St. Louis, 8-point lead right now for VCU. I laid 4.5 in that game, so we'll see how that finishes up here at 5 to play in the second half. But why isn't Blake Snell signed? I watched an agent do a whole soliloquy today about the problems with the market and why this is going to continue. This will be a continual problem in baseball because of the way that Major League Baseball teams are playing hardball with players and agents. Are you okay with Blake Snell not being signed here mid-February?
What did he say? That it's a market problem? What did she say?
She said it was basically, to boil it down, that teams are not willing to move off of a number that they are going to apply to a player. So they're saying you're worth this and we're not paying you any more than this. Then that player, everyone that's waiting for that player to sign, because Blake Snell is the top 2 or 3 free agents, there's 3 or 4 guys behind Blake Snell that have to wait for Blake Snell to sign to set the market. So they can't sign. Teams won't sign them until they find out what Blake Snell's value is. So if Blake's value at 10, they got to find the 987, and they can't do the 987 until Blake Snell establishes it with 10. And then Blake Snell's agent and Blake Snell are saying, no, we're actually worth 11. And teams are saying, no, you're worth 10. And there's a big staring match going on, which then holds up everyone else who's waiting to be signed behind Blake Snell. So it's a market problem.
That makes perfect sense as to what's going on, because everyone else's deal comes off that top guy, and Blake Snell is the top guy. He's a National League Cy Young Award winner. It doesn't have a team. The problem with this game of chicken is that if they get to mid-March and he doesn't have a team, there's nowhere else for Blake Snell to go pitch unless he goes, to another country or something. So the teams have, the players over the barrel a little bit, right? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to take what we give you, or you're not going to pitch. And if you wait it out, we've seen this now a couple times where it became an impasse in the NFL. And I'll never forget the first time Carson Palmer said, I'm not signing. I'm not playing. We're okay. Well, then you don't play. And he didn't play. Sat out the whole season. Like,
right.
Wow. Okay. You got to have enough money and be comfortable in your spot to do that. It messes up the futures. I tell you that. It's like in the book, you're just kind of like putting stuff up. And then the week before the season's going to start, or the week before the real spring training games start, there's the American League pennant odds. If he goes to the Yankees, we're probably going to have to lower that price. That means that he doesn't go to Texas. He doesn't go to Baltimore. So he might increase that price. It's a lot of volatility. It's a different world, Perrault. When we were young, the winter meetings, everybody signed. They made a big production of it. The winter meetings come and go, and nobody signed. I mean, they waited for Shohei to establish the market. That was it.
I was watching the Pat McAfee show this morning, and he had the owner of the Suns on, and I thought he said something so interesting. He said, our fans don't care what I pay in luxury tax. Our fans only care is whether or not I have a championship team on the court. And it's the same with baseball. The fans don't care, Yankees, Chicago's, Red Sox, Phillies, whoever. Like, the fans don't care. The fans want to win, period. Where are the Yankees? I can't believe I'm going to say this, but where are the New York Yankees of my childhood? Where are the Yankees that played for championships? When did this franchise become this penny-pinching, watch every dollar, we're not going to apply this, we're not going to go for this type of thing? Look, it's not just Hal Steinbrenner. You can apply it all you want and say George died and everything else died with him. Maybe. But I think it's more than that. It's an organizational thing that we no longer see. I think it's a baseball thing. The owners, I think there's a collusion going on between the owners where they're like, look, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do the A-Rod. Remember the A-Rod deal to Texas was $250 million? And everybody stopped and went, what did he just get? 200 and what?
Yeah.
Like Shohei's deal is ridiculous.
It's ironic because they outbid nobody. There was no other bidder. They didn't have to give him that. Boris is a genius. Inside job extraordinaire. You convince one owner that that's the market price and that's what he has to pay. He does. That drives up the market for everybody else. They're all working together. I mean, the owners are colluding, the players are colluding, the agents are all colluding. There might be not any more money, Perrault. There might be a ceiling to all of this. No?
The only ceiling is the fact that certain teams right now are nervous about their regional broadcast rights, and they're worried about that money coming in because we've seen teams be stuck with the bag, stuck holding the bag at the end. That's the only real problem. Everything else, because they revenue share, the game is very healthy.
Baseball doesn't revenue share anything.
The playoffs, they do.
The Yankees' local TV contract is worth $200 million.
Right.
The Pirates is worth $20. They're in the same
playoffs is
league.
Right.
Yeah, they get playoff money, but nobody rev shares. It's the elite and it's everybody else. Baseball has been that way forever. There just might not be any more money. I mean, baseball tickets can't be $100 to sit and roast in the upper deck at a stadium in June. You can't charge that.
But they do. Depends on the ballpark. But face value at Fenway Park is ridiculous. I mean, you can roast in the bleachers. It's $45, $50 to go in the bleachers. You want a box seat? It's $210 a game. Like you want to go to Yankee Stadium? Great. Look at that price tag. It's insane. I mean, there's money. I'll never buy that. The baseball is poor. Baseball is, having issues. I'll never buy that. They just signed the deal with Apple for the Friday night broadcasts. This is owners not wanting to pay anymore. They want to keep their money. Look at the Red Sox. Look at the embarrassment that the Red Sox have become with their ownership and what they're doing and how they're not spending. It's absolutely a joke. But this is not just Boston. It's New York and more. InGame Live Friday night. Don't move here on SportsGrid.
A great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Kevin. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Well, there's fast, and then they're scoring 20 seconds in. Carolina 1-0 up already on Arizona. My goodness gracious. All right. We'll see what happens there inside of the distance, or I guess 60 minutes in regulation. That bet off to a good start if you made it, at minus 140 for the Hurricanes against the Coyotes. The lone NHL game on the docket tonight in the NHL. Matt Perrault and Dave Sharapan with you guys here in-game live on a Friday night. We're talking baseball. I want to spend a couple of more seconds on it, Dave, and talk about the MVP market and the Cy Young market a little bit, and also just the World Series market. But the Shohei Ohtani show, we often talk about the fact that West Coast games don't get watched on the East Coast. But do you think people even on the East Coast are going to be intrigued about staying up to watch the Dodgers when Shohei's playing?
I think so when they're playing East Coast teams. But when Dodgers, Padres, Dodgers, Giants, it's not going to get the run that it would if he was Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays, Yankees, like Mets, Phillies, Mets, Braves. Dodgers, Braves is absolute must-watch television. Dodgers, Phillies will be absolutely must-watch television. But when you look at the odds for the World Series, I mean, those three teams are so far ahead of everyone else in the National League that I think it's really going to be like the one-offs. You know, the schedule is now balanced where they play every team one time, home and away.
13 games.
The trip for the Dodgers into wherever, pick a city. The Cubs, the American League cities where they play them now, every team. It's going to be a monster appearance. Shohei and the Dodgers come to Baltimore. Sellout, rock stars. You know, they go to Detroit. And, I mean, the Dodgers were always a draw, but now he is the draw.
Right.
So it's going to be
it's funny.
It's a rock band.
It's funny because I was on Radio Row talking to somebody about Shohei, and I guess it was like a big joke last year, about halfway into the year, because the Angel players started telling media members they knew he was gone. They knew he was leaving, and they knew he was going to the Dodgers. Like, it was like, I was like, really? They're like, why didn't anybody report it? Like, no one would go on the record. But the team all knew. The team could tell. Because I guess he's a creature of habit, and I guess he did not want to move. He likes his house. He likes where he is, but he didn't want to play anymore in Anaheim. He wanted to go and play in LA. So he can keep his house, keep his routine, keep his trainers, keep his workouts. Everything is all as is. except he's making more money and playing for a much bigger team.
Well, the commute's going to change. Going up that 405 to Dodger Stadium, he's probably going to fly in a helicopter, I would assume. Or he's going to get a driver to get in the carpool lane and get him there quick. You know, I don't know how he drives to the game. We know a guy who has, helped sell him cars. So maybe he is going to drive. I don't know. But we know the guy. So we'll have to ask our friend and see how that's going to work. I don't know. Listen, the Dodgers, iconic franchise, historic. When's the last time they won a World Series? It was 2020.
Yeah, it's fake. Mickey Mouse. It was a Mickey Mouse, just like the Lakers. Both Mickey Mouse. Both are Mickey Mouse titles, not real. Those are little things that those are Mickey Mouse championships. Those aren't real. Those are fake. Those are like Cracker Jack. Remember the ring, the fake rings you get in the bottom of the Cracker Jack box? That's what that is.
Those things.
Yeah, that's what that championship ring is. It's just a fake plastic thing. You know, it's not real. It's not so I can enjoy it, but it's not real. So but here's the thing: would you bet Shohei to win the MVP?
No, not right now. I would not. No, because
look at the number.
I don't know how long or how hurt he's going to be. Look, those are the favorites. Those are right. Those three guys should be ahead of him.
Wow,
they should.
Really?
Acuna plays every game. If he don't get hurt, the numbers he puts up, it's going to be hard to argue. If he plays 158 out of the 162 and Shohei plays, I don't know, 140, he misses a game a week, 2 games a week because he's hurt, or he gets re-injured, it's a wrap. Freeman, all he does is double. How good is Freeman going to be now in that lineup?
That's what I mean. Shohei, he has that protection around him. You can't pitch around Shohei Ohtani. You're going to pitch to him.
No, I think they'll pitch around Shohei, and they'll pitch to the other guys in that lineup, depending on where he hits.
Yeah,
I think he'll be the guy that's
for doing so. I mean, what, you're going to pitch around Shohei to get to who? To get to Mookie or to get to Freddie? Enjoy that. That's not
going to be a recipe for success. I mean, there's no question. But the only time you're going to pitch to Shohei is when there's nobody on base. But how can the Dodgers have 3 of the top 4? The only 4 guys under 10-1, 3 of them are Dodgers, and they're probably going to hit next to each other 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5, or something ridiculous like that. I mean, this had to be what it was like when the Yankees in the 20s, when it was Ruth and Gehrig and Murderers Row, whatever that was. This is I don't remember seeing a lineup like this in recent history. There's 1, sometimes 2, but there ain't 3 of the top 4.
Yeah,
in the MVP.
I remember seeing one when I used to play Ken Griffey Jr. baseball on Super Nintendo. That's what I remember when I built. That's the last time I saw a lineup like this, when I was able to build it whatever I wanted, and I had Bo Jackson batting third and Griffey batting third and doing Wade Boggs leading off, and I just built the best lineup of all time. That's what this is. This is a PlayStation. This is a 2K lineup. This is not normal. This is ridiculous. Correct. RBI baseball on steroids type of situation, and it's real. And so if you're Dave Roberts, don't screw it up. There is no, you're not going to get patted on the back. If you win a championship, no one's going to say how great you are. Hey, you won a second one. All they're saying is, Dave, don't screw this up.
You better have the pitching. Otherwise, you're going to have to win a lot of these games 11-10. The Dodgers were so good on the run line last year. The Dodgers over on the road. I mean, we talked about it all summer long. It was just print a ticket, keep betting it. And 2-0. 2-0 Canes?
Yeah, already. 2-0. Yeah, that's someone's not looking forward to playing that game. That's going to be a rout in that game. But look, pitching for the Dodgers. Okay, let's take a quick look at their rotation, because Glasnow is their big. That Glasnow and Yamamoto are their 2 big acquisitions.
Right.
Bobby Miller, Walker Buehler's hurt, James Paxton. And then they're going to bring back Kershaw. have him out there.
Uh-huh.
They don't really have a legit number one.
No.
Right? Like Glass now, if you look at the Cy Young for the National League,
Right.
Glass now 17-1.
Yeah.
But Yamamoto is 15-1. But I don't know. First year over here, what do you expect of the Yamamoto coming over first year here?
I don't know what to expect. I'm going down to Arizona to watch him pitch in person at some point in spring training to actually see. And hopefully we'll get a little close and we'll be able to really see or talk to somebody down there. I don't know. That National League Cy Young list looks a lot different than that MVP list. There was a lot of Dodger emblems on that MVP list. There's one, maybe two down below, on that Cy Young list. They got to get the pitching. You can win a lot of games, but to win a World Series, you need somebody on that list. You need somebody, a horse, and maybe it is Yamamoto. Then there's the bullpen. I don't know about the Dodger bullpen either. I'm not sure. I really am not.
I mean, Gratterall and Kelly, Brazier, it's not great. It's not bad. It's just not great. It's fair. 8-7 games, though. Score 8 runs a game. Doesn't really matter how you pitch. Score 8 runs a game. More to come on the Friday night.
Point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of a spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in the playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It's a Friday night in-game live. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault with you here on SportsGrid. Earlier today on Coast to Coast, Justin Termine came on Sirius XM NBA channel talking a bit about what to watch out for the Western Conference.
I think there's a gap between the Clippers, who we just discussed, in Denver, who, isn't as good as last year. A lot of their role, like Jokic has been as good. Jamal Murray hasn't been great like he was in the postseason, but he's been the same as he was in the regular season last year. Aaron Gordon's taken a little bit of a step back, and Tavius Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., and then clearly losing Bruce Brown has an impact. But I still think come postseason time, it's Clippers and Denver in the top. And then we got questions after that, like Minnesota. We talked to Chris Finch, their head coach, today. I think they could make the conference finals. I think they could also lose in the first round. I don't trust their late game offense. Anthony Edwards is a fantastic player, but he's got to grow and learn from mistakes, just as Jason Tatum has the last couple of years where he wasn't ready right away. He's got to learn in big spots. He'll get there someday. Not sure yet. Same thing with Oklahoma City. We've just never seen a team this young make a deep run. This is a team that doesn't have a postseason experience. Now you're asking them to beat the Clippers. You're asking them to beat Denver, get to the finals, get to the conference finals. I don't see it, even though they're going to be dangerous in the future.
Dave, question on, well, it kind of goes for both OKC and Indianapolis or Indiana. What do you make of young teams without any experience? Because on one hand, they say you have to learn how to win. On the other hand, you don't have the scar tissue and you don't know any better. So just go win the darn thing.
It's happened in hockey. It doesn't really happen in basketball as much. I know a lot of times the hesitation in you keep their number higher, right? You keep their number until they actually do it. You want to take bets on them. So you kind of go in with the teams that have done it, and you let the upstarts. You take a position. Now there was guys that when Toronto won the NBA championship when they got Kawhi, there was a lot of guys that I was working with that didn't believe it, and it was me and this one other guy. We're like, Toronto's going to win this. We got to move the price down. Let's go get the other money. Worked out really good because we were right, but I think there's hesitation. I mean, I got to be honest. Like OKC, you're going to hear it. It happened with Sacramento last year, right? Like we talked a lot about Sacramento, Light the Beam. Our friends up at NBC Sports there were invited us up. We're going to go up and watch a game and get all hyped up. And I asked you the other day, do you like Sacramento to win? I asked Wetzel the other day, what do you make of Sacramento? Everybody goes, nice team, but that's the young team perception, right?
I think in particular in the West, where you have so many established championship caliber and championship tested teams, Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Nuggets, like these are all teams that have guys who know what it takes to win in the playoffs. That's what makes it more difficult for me to buy in on a team like OKC or even Minnesota for that matter. Right. Phoenix, championship medal. Look at that list. I mean, only the Mavericks, Pelicans, and the Kings, other than T-Wolves and Thunder, everybody else on that list, has won or has players who have won. So that's my hesitation is, do they know how to win in the clutch in the postseason when it really comes down to it? Or are they going to get beaten by a LeBron James Lakers team because that's what LeBron does?
Oh, man, here you go, making a case for the Lakers and their team, or
it's not really
Warriors.
A case. It's more like if the Warriors are a different story. I'll make a case for the Warriors.
I know you will.
At 50-1, Klay Thompson comes off the bench last night, scores 35 points in his first ever game coming off the bench. I just think there's a legitimate thing to look at here for a team, a 50-1 with Steph Curry on the roster in the playoffs. And you don't play every night. You don't play back-to-backs. Stretch it out. Yeah, the bench is thin, but it's Draymond, it's Klay. That's pretty darn good in a basketball tournament situation. Okay?
Klay coming off the bench, if they get the rotation right and they do what they did. But my answer back to that is they don't play defense. I don't know how they're going to win multiple games in series where they're got to score 130 or 140 to win. I mean, if the dance partner isn't there and the other team can dictate that they play this real slow down game or stop Steph and let everybody else beat us, I don't know if they have it anymore. I'm not saying there's not value on it. It's always good to get a ticket that the price is at the top and it's only going to go down. It's very possible that 50-1 to win the NBA championship on Golden State is probably the best price you're going to get this season. And I know that you're not thinking that you need to win it. You just need to get there. I don't know if they can win a playoff series coming from the 8th spot. I mean, they're coming from the 8th or the 7th spot because they're going to have to play their way in the play-in tournament. So I don't know.
At 50-1, you have such wiggle room to hedge. I mean, 50-1. Just start doing two units. Like you can constantly bet against them and still wind up with a massive profit.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I'm really close. Probably during this All-Star break, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to take the 50-1 and just go, you know what? We can play off it because I think that they have a lot left in the tank. You know, we're on the West Coast, so we get NBC Sports California, which is the home of the Warriors. And so we get to watch a lot of their post-game coverage and a lot of their game coverage. And it's interesting to watch because they're very confident up there. Like, they think the regular season doesn't matter. They're like, look, it's the regular season. It doesn't matter, okay? Like, just get the rotation going. Find out what's going on. They lost one of their top assistant coaches. He passed away. It shook up the entire team. Steve Kerr missed multiple games, went to Serbia to the funeral. Like, the team they're just playing it out. Like, they're not really focusing. And then come playoff time, they'll lock in. And it'll be a sprint. And it's win the play-in tournament, get yourself, a matchup against an inexperienced team.
Are you good with having a switch to turn on, like for teams? I don't know if that switch is there. I've been waiting for the Lakers to turn on the switch.
Yes. No, Lakers different. Lakers are old. Warriors aren't old the way the Lakers are old. It's a championship caliber team. You have two of the best shooters, if not the two best shooters of all time on your roster who are still performing at a very high level. I would not doubt these guys. They're not going to beat the Denver Nuggets, okay? They can't beat Denver. I'm not so sure they can beat the Clippers, but I think they can beat everybody else. They'll be in the series. They may lose, but it's not going to be a 4-0 sweep.
One of the worst matchups for an OKC up-and-coming young team is an old man strength team, veteran experience of Golden State. I don't even know what I would make the number. If that's the matchup, and OKC has home court, they're not going to be a big favorite. I can tell you that right now. They may not even be a favorite because if they split on the road and Golden State goes home with home court advantage after splitting the first two games, they're going to be favored. I mean, they're going to be significant favorites. I don't know how you can just turn the switch on. I got to welcome Mr. C. He's late to the party, but he just turned the switch on here in the chat. Good to see you, sir.
I think you can do it. I think in the NBA you can do it. You can play differently. It's a different game. It's like the NHL playoffs. It's a different game. NFL playoffs.
It is
a different game.
I'll give you that. So the numbers are different.
You're a veteran team.
The totals are different. Everything's different.
You know how, because you're playing one team, best of 7. How do I get Steph the ball, get Clay going, use Draymond to be the rebounder, use your young talent, and there's a bunch of young, unnamed guys on that Warriors team that are playing fairly decent at the moment for Golden State. Trust the coaching and Steve Kerr. Again, I'm not advocating them to win the West. I'm just advocating that they're going to be in the postseason, and I think they win a series. And if they win one series, you just unload.
The boys had for the number 1 seed. Did you see that? Look at this thing. NBA West number 1 seed. The T-Wolves, they don't even believe that the T-Wolves can get the 1 seed. Look at this. I mean, it's plus 135. But the Clippers, the Thunder, the Nuggets at 5-1, Perrault? I know.
That's surprising.
That is surprising, right?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Are the Nuggets on your plan where the regular season doesn't matter?
Yes. Nuggets are the best team in basketball. Nuggets are better than Boston.
What?
Matchup-wise, Denver's better than Boston.
I don't believe you just said that. I don't.
Jokic is the best player in the game, and Boston has no answer. Boston has no. I mean, it's a fact. Boston has now. This is an Eastern Conference versus Western Conference matchup here. This is not Boston against the Knicks. Okay, I'm not worried about the Knicks. I'm not worried about anybody in the Eastern Conference. Doc Rivers is. I think he's intentionally sabotaging the whole year for Milwaukee. I think he's a plant. Doc Rivers is a plant. He's a plant. He was designed to go in there to ruin their year. It's great. I appreciate it, but look at the Bucks. 3-7 under Doc Rivers. Yippee! Guy was 30-13. Guy lost 13 games in 40. Doc Rivers has lost 7 in 10. Awesome hire. Way to go! Way to go, Milwaukee. Great job. But Denver against Boston is a matchup problem. It's an issue. Boston doesn't have anybody who can handle the Joker. So, that will be the difference. I mean, unless Joe Mazzulla can come up with a really good game plan to figure out a way to let Jokic have his and shut down everyone else. Bless you. Everyone else. Other than that, I don't like it. Bad matchup for Boston in the finals. Got to get there first, though. Cam Stewart next. Don't move. More to come. InGame live on our Friday night here on SportsGrid.
A great point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they won the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in the playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live on a Friday night. Buckle up, boys and girls. This could be fun. Cam Stewart joining us here on SportsGrid. Cam, Jordan Spieth didn't sign the correct scorecard. Did that impact your gambling card for the weekend?
Actually, I thought it was going to be worse. It's not as bad. Just a matchup bet today, and I have him a live bet. But, Matt, I know you like to stir it up with Morency, and me and you are usually a good tag team, but I'm turning heel. It's me and Sharapan versus you. We're in 2024. Yep. Computers do the work. Like, literally, golf is the only sport you have to worry about somebody else's score and your own. They switch cards at the end. Like, are you kidding me? Man, this is stupid. All you have to do is say, hey, double check the computer. Oh, I shot this. No DQs. They're unbelievable. They finally got rules of like grounding clubs in certain areas and stuff, but they keep rules of, okay, I'm just going to shoot the ball 300 yards sideways into a grandstand and get a free drop. The rules of golf are so erratic and stupid, and I have all these golf peers.
But that's why it's wonderful. It's erratic and stupid. That's why it's wonderful for that reason. It's unique. If you can't add properly in 2024, then it's on Jordan Spieth, not on the game of golf.
See, a guy went to a dumb school. He didn't go to Harvard or Stanford like some of these other guys, and he can't add. He's a golfer.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's how this goes.
Hi,
he wrote 3.
Everybody, I'm Cam Stewart. I got my degree from the University of Phoenix online, and I can't add.
Okay, but that's part of the beauty of it. That's part of the beauty of it.
Oh, Matt.
Oh, that's part of the beauty.
Kidding me.
That's absolutely part of the beauty of it.
Beauty.
I
agree with you on one thing. No, Matt.
I
agree with you in Boston. I love the old and Dave's a baseball purist too. You know what? I love Fenway for, you see the guy behind the thing and you put the number. That's aesthetics. That's something that you look at, and that is history and nostalgia. This is just dumb. It's a process that doesn't need to happen and can knock somebody out of a tournament for stupid. It's just dumb. Like there's no need.
But see, it's strange that Dave agrees with you though, Cam. What's funny is that Dave is the one that won't do streaming services. He only wants to get cable, and he can't stand the technology advancement that we all have. He hates our phones. But, Dave, you want digital technology to dictate golf scoring?
It's a freaking score. This isn't about excessive streams or, smart TVs. It's a friggin' score on a golf card. That's all it is. I love you, Dave.
The guys in the book know the score. Like, there's an app that shoots the score to the PGA Tour.com immediately.
But it's not official. It's not official until the card is signed by the player himself.
It is official on the website. But but here's the thing. If a guy here's the problem. Dustin Johnson won a major for this exact thing. If a guy makes a mistake, you should have the ability to look it over and say, hey, you added something up or talk to your playing partner. That's the whole problem. Like, you make one little mistake, and it's like, oh, okay, so now I'm losing a major?
Not little. It's not a little mistake. It's a major mistake. It's a massive mistake. You wrote the wrong score. That's a massive score. It's a massive screw-up. Everyone knows if you play golf, you write the score down. You have the right score.
He's not cheating on purpose. It happens sometimes. We're all humans, man. That's why you have the computer to do it.
It can't happen. It can't happen. The caddy keeps a card, and you keep a card. The other guy keeps a card, and you swap, like you mentioned, and you go ahead and you count it down. You double check, triple check. How did it happen is a better question, because how do you get that wrong in 2024? How do you screw up your own scorecard?
Remember, in golf, the other guy keeps your score too, which makes it even worse.
And then you sign it. But your caddy keeps it too. So you both keep it, and then you go ahead and screw up.
In 2024,
I'm just saying there's going to be typos and mistakes. A guy in the computer should go, hey, man, you miscalculated by one stroke. You should never get DQ'd for something like this. And if you do.
Oh, I think you should.
No, I don't. They used to screw guys all the time. Remember? Oh, Oni Golf. Hey, man, what? PGA Hotline. I saw Steve Stricker.
I love that too.
What?
Yes.
What? Rats?
Yes.
Rats? Like people could actually. No, they don't have that anymore because they got rid of rats. Stitches get stitches, even on the PGA Tour.
That's crazy. Golf's the only game which you police yourself. The only game where there's no defense and you police yourself. That's the beauty of it. What world do you
live in, Matt? Is this Leave It to Beaver? Is your mom making you a tray of cookies right now and a warm glass of milk?
It's the truth.
Holy jeez.
That's what the game. That's why I love the game.
Oh,
The game is beautiful for that very reason. There's no defense.
Who are you, Eddie
the only thing
Haskell?
you have is you versus yourself. That's it. That's the game
Mrs.
of golf.
Glaber?
You versus yourself. No, it's the truth.
No,
And,
you do police
hey,
yourself.
fine.
I'm not saying
By the way,
cheat or
so
like,
we know this.
like Patrick Reed.
We know this, Dave.
What? Yes.
If we play golf with Cam is foot wedging left and right.
I beat up before. No, actually, Matt, I saw one of my
100%.
buddies in a cash game in the woods play a different ball out, and we had a fist fight. He cheated, but that was when we were younger and stupid, and he owed a lot of money. He made a big mistake.
So what's the difference?
That's different. No, the difference is that is obviously cheating instead of making a mental mistake. Okay, it's the difference between homicide, first-degree murder, and involuntary manslaughter. One you get 5 to 6 years, and the other one you do life or death there. What?
Someone's dead both ways, so it's just a matter how they die. Someone's dead
in the heat of passion, you can get 3 to 5. Anyway,
someone's still dying. In your scenario, somebody's still dead, so it's still cheating.
Dave, help me, Dave. Help me here.
I can't wait, Cam, for the weekend conspiracy theory that somebody bet Justin Spieth under or to not make the cut.
Yep.
Okay, Jordan Spieth, I mean.
He was a very popular pick this week.
He didn't make the cut.
Oh, who else withdrew today with illness? Tiger. Yeah, TW. Oh, I'm saying, dude, I looked at his face. I'm like, is that a guy who's older that can't shake something off? Or was that like, you can't tell me Tiger Woods can't grind through a flu. They're like, oh, he's got flu-like symptoms. Like, come on, Matt. You think I'm stupid?
No,
like,
I agree. No.
Thank you. So you're telling either Tiger Woods tied one on or he did. The difference is Michael Jordan, when he does stuff, he can go out and still give you 50. I'm not saying Tiger Woods went on a bender last night, but I'm saying for a guy that literally had very minimal flu symptoms, I've never seen a guy withdraw for something that weak. Sorry, and I'll defend Tiger Woods. I'll defend him as the world's best golfer of all time. But that was like, that's weak sauce. He's the host of the tournament.
Matt asked me earlier and said, is this the last time we're going to see Tiger Woods playing competitive golf? Like, it can't be, right? We can't have him
he'll be fine. He'll come back, as I said before. I hope we keep the tapes, and Jack will tell you. He will be fine. He's not going to play in these other events, Dave. He's going to ramp up for the Masters and show up at Augusta. Yeah. If he doesn't play at Augusta, then Matt, I will be your butler and fly to Boston, and I'll be help you and Kaufman out. Yeah, you guys are all Boston sports. This guy's the best, babe. Honest to God, no, I love it. The honor of golf. Oh, that's just sometimes this sport's too much.
Man, Perrault lives right next to your retirement home, the Suncoast. You can come to Vegas. Perrault lives like a short walk away from the Suncoast.
I love that's my favorite spot in Vegas. It's my favorite spot.
We'll drop off the daily racing form while you bet horses in the morning, and this is the spot 10 years down the line. We'll all be here. Instead of the Red Lobster, we'll meet at the Suncoast Coffee Shop.
I told Bovie, I go, when I go to Vegas, I don't want to go like party and stuff. I do that regularly with my girlfriend. Like every day, like people, let's go out tonight. No. My trip to Vegas is actually, I want to do the opposite. I want a nice breakfast at Dupar's. I want to have a couple beers. I want to meet the seniors at the horse book, get nuts, play every track, Aqueduct, Gulfstream, maybe even Blessing and me, we got stupid. We play Evangeline Downs. Like he's like, oh yeah. We used to crush those tracks. Like he just looked at it, he goes, first time starter here, hacking a Marlboro, bam, Cummins at the 17-1. I go, who are you, man? Like that horse looked like he had a broken leg. And next thing you know, bam, he's flying. He go. Anyway, Matt, I love you, man, but I just can't agree with this call. Do we have any picks for? Oh yeah, sorry.
Fine.
You guys bring me on for pick. Actually, this was fun though. Sure. There's not really a lot going on. The NBA All-Star.
Let me ask you this though, because Dave and I did a lot on this before you get to hockey. At minus 150 for Cantlay to win the whole thing. Next guy is Day at 11-1. You like Cantlay to run away with this thing?
Here's the thing: Patrick Cantlay's very comfortable at this course. Know what I would do, guys? If I was going to take a shot, I'd take Scotty Scheffler at 20. He's the only type of guy. I already have Mackenzie Hughes. He's 251 to the start. I sprinkled on the Canadian. It's kind of funny. Look at the Canadians again this week. Corey Connors and Mackenzie Hughes are in the top 5. I don't know what it is about Canada golf right now. These guys I'm very proud of them. But I would look at Scheffler at 20-1. And I already have Zalatoris at a better number. I don't think they can do it at 11. Schauffele's making a move, but he's a gagger. Luke List is actually a closer, but
I don't like his game enough. I would take Scheffler, even though he's very, how far back is he? I think he's like 6, isn't he? Let's take a look here.
Back,
7.
That's
7.
yeah.
7, that's fine. You got 2 days to make it up.
Yeah,
My old rule is you can make up usually a good golfer versus a good golfer 5 or 6. That's if you're on a heater and he's just playing average golf, right? So
2 or 3 a day you can make up. But doesn't Cantlay have to shoot at least par or worse for the field to catch him? If he puts up 68, Cam, he finishes at 19 under, 17 under, won it last year.
You're right, Dave. And the thing is, I got actually the books offered Cantlay to be second-round leader at minus 140 when I started, like, after my matchup bets today.
Wow.
I bet it. And he won by a mile. And then they offered Cantlay when guys were catching up to him at plus 450. So I put 150 on that because I'm like, now I got this thing circled. So all I need with my guys that are all there, but this is the problem with golf. If some guy comes out of nowhere, like 10 strokes back, and I don't got him, like, it's a very risky sport. But right now I'm kind of like, I got a lot of allies here that are very close to the top. That's the thing. I don't mind if Cantlay wins, but I'd prefer Will Zalatoris because I bet him at the start of the tournament at 55. And I think Scheffler, though, is the one player. He can go bananas. Like, this is the thing. The guy's you know how many putts this guy misses? Like, one day, if he has a good putting day, Matt, he could shoot 9 under on the day easily.
Right.
That's what
64s are out there.
That's what you do in majors. And I've learned a long time. Like, I remember when John Rahm was back like 9, or Justin Thomas when he was in his prime back in majors. I'm like, I got 2.5 days for these guys to make up 9 strokes with a guy. The problem is, Cantlay's no chump. He's one of the best golfers in the world. This isn't some fly-by-nighter. I'm not even taking nothing away from like Mackenzie Hughes as a Canadian, but if he was leading and Scheffler was back and you were getting 20, I'd smash it. Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't think he can maintain that pace. But Cantlay can. I'm just saying you're not going to get Scheffler at 21. 7 strokes seems like a lot, but over 36 holes of golf, it can be made up. Say Cantlay hits one OB, takes a triple. And even Scheffler, if he gets a birdie that hole, it's 4 shots on one hole. And it's happened a lot this week. I've watched guys. Did you guys see Rory McIlroy? The guys had multiple triple bogeys. Like, if he just turned these into bogeys, the guy would be right among the leaders. But that's what he does. Like, he's just, I don't know what's happened to Rory McIlroy, Matt and Dave. Like, he does not know how to minimize damage. And that's the difference between Scheffler, Cantlay, and all those other guys. They don't take triples and quads. They take bogeys, not doubles. And that separates. Every great golfer will have a mistake. Yeah, what do you got, Matt?
Fire your hockey. We got a minute to go, Kim.
Oh, okay. Fire hockey. Okay, let's take a look. Hockey. Sorry, you can work me up with that golf argument. I don't want to take the Coyotes. I like the Los Angeles Kings plus 122 against Boston. Matt, now you're going to hate me more and to say scorecards and golf are even better. Edmonton Oilers against Dallas. I'm leaning that way. Ottawa on the puck line. What else do I got?
What about these outdoor games? Flyers, Devils Saturday, Rangers, Devils. Islanders Sunday.
I like the Devils against the Flyers, and I like the Rangers over the Islanders.
Tell them. Devils.
The Flyers, they almost beat the Leafs, but I'm telling you, the Devils are going to go on a little bit of a heater. They got to figure this out quickly.
Good stuff, Kim. We'll see you top of the hour coming up on SportsGrid.
I'll see you on the golf course. Let Dave sign your card. Will you?
1, 2, 3, 4. I can count. Jordan can't.
A great point guard, a great big that can block shots, a team that can play defense, and seniors that can put the ball in the hole. That's who you bet on. You don't bet on freshmen. You don't bet on teams that don't play defense. There you go.
I mean, you got to run the guy over to call a foul in a tie game in that kind of a spot. That was a bad job by those refs.
Perrault Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they won the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Ken. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management. Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
In-game live with us here on a Friday night. You guys are with us. Thank you for being here. We will hand things off to Gabe Morency and SportsGrid coming up top of the hour. BVB on the other side after that. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault with you guys here. Dave, for the weekend, anything besides the Devils tomorrow you like?
I didn't even look. I'm seriously going to look at this Cantlay thing because I told you during the break, I don't want to have to come out of retirement, but I might have to come out of retirement because I think that at minus 150, we got the guys in the chat are looking how far back. I mean, you can rule out pretty much everybody that's not -7 or, better. There's not that many people. And you heard Cam, which was outstanding, by the way. What a rant. That was just that was the energy, excitement, and all of that over a side scorecard was great. Cam brings it all the time. Can't thank him enough for that. That got me fired up. No. I'll be watching college basketball. I'll be watching the three-point shootout. You going to watch the dunk contest or no?
It'll be on, but there's definitely better things to watch. There's better games up against it in college basketball. Like, just look at the SEC schedule for tomorrow. Look at the teams late. I mean, there's Arizona State's tomorrow in college basketball.
These graphics for this three-point shootout, the boys did a great job with this.
Sabrina versus Steph. This is, I may watch this.
That is watch. You will watch. Come on.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun. Yeah.
And then
I hope
the
Sabrina beats him.
Three-point shootout. Look at the prices on that thing. Look at that. Nobody knows nothing. The odds makers don't know. Yeah. Everybody's almost the same price. That looks rinse and repeat. I used to put the guys I didn't think could win at 25-1 and let people bet them. I don't even know where to begin with that thing. Brunson, Mitchell,
take Halliburton. Give me Halliburton. It's been the year of the Pacers so far offensively, so give me Tyrese on that. Hometown kid. Go fire away. Thank you, Dave.
Nice job.
Been a busy week. Have a great weekend. Thanks for Jack for producing. We're back next week, next Friday night here, in-game live on SportsGrid.